Hey everyone, it's Smita. Today I am really excited because we are going to be doing a try-on of all of the new shades of the Danessa Myricks lip products that have recently come out. And I'm actually really excited about this launch because, this is the very first time that we're getting a lip launch from Danessa Myricks. The brand has been around for years, and one of my predictions going into 2026 is that we were going to see a lip product from Danessa Myricks. I had no idea what, and I'm not sure I expected these kind of glosses, but I've had a chance to play around with them a little bit, and I'm really excited about these. So very much looking forward to telling you more about these and trying on all of the shades. Let's go ahead and get into it. These retail for $26. You can get them at Sephora. You can also get them on the Danessa Myricks website. They are made in Italy. They have a kind of squeezy tube applicator with like a metal end to it. Feels kind of luxurious going on. The texture of these feels like they are sort of a very thick gloss, but not sticky in any kind of way. They feel substantial. They're buildable in pigmentation. They come in 14 different shades. They're mostly on the kind of spectrum of being nude shades, although we do have some pops of color in there as well. With these three, I feel like being three of the more colorful shades. Also, before I forget, I do want to let you know that on my eyes, I have the Paladin palette. This is the latest launch from Fantasy Cosmetica. I was particularly blown away with this purple iridescent. It's just so glowy, made the most beautiful brow bone highlight and inner corner highlight. I also want to mention I will have all of the glosses that I tried on in this video linked. Thank you so much if you use my links. It really does support my channel. As you can always expect from Danessa Myricks, the launches are incredibly inclusive, so I do feel like there is a shade here that will work for everyone. Now, there is a clear gloss, although I don't think I'm going to try this on because I don't think there's much to try on in terms of seeing what it looks like on my skin tone. But I'm going to try to do basically light to deep, starting off with the shade It Girl. It Girl is a baby pink. Here is what it looks like swatched on the back of my hand. I'm not sure if this shade is widely available because I'm not seeing it on the Sephora site, but here's what it looks like swatched on the back of my hand. Let's go ahead and try it on. I have on one of the KJH liners, just a very light amount for definition. You can do a very sheer layer of these if you want, but just so I can build them up a bit, I'm going to use a bit more. And here's what the shade It Girl looks like applied. Now, I haven't done a formal wear test with these yet, but I will leave a pinned comment to let you know how they wear. I feel like these are going to have a decent wear on them because they are kind of a thicker, more substantial formula. All right, and the next shade we have is called Pink Sorbet. This is simply described as a warm peachy pink. Here is what it looks like swatched in the back of my hand. Some of these tones of pink are not always my jam, but I feel like what I like about these is that they are buildable. They're not fully opaque, but you can build them up for more opacity if you want. I do hope she decides to do these in even more shades, like even more bolder and brighter shades. And here is Pink Sorbet. Okay, the next shade we have is called Vintage Rose. This is described as a rosy brown. This looks like a really pretty nude shade, especially if you have like a light to light medium skin tone. I've realized over time that I kind of prefer pinks that have a bit of a brown tone to them. Here is Vintage Rose. All right, next shade we have is called Rose and Brunch. This is described as a neutral pink. Does look like it has, yeah, just a little bit more depth to it compared to the shade that I just swatched and tried on. This reminds me a little bit of Fussy from Fenty. Yeah, I think on me, I do prefer this one a little bit. I like that it has a bit more depth to it. All right, and here is Rose and Brunch. All right, next we have Spiced Latte. This is described as a warm medium brown. Here is what it looks like swatched in the back of my hand. That's actually pretty similar to my skin tone. And here is Spiced Latte. You know what these remind me a little bit of? The kind of glosses that come in a tube from Violette FR, although I think those are more like balms than glosses. And these ones to me are more pigmented than those. Okay, I think a lot of people will be really excited about this shade because this is a cool lilac, and I know that cool tones are having a moment right now, and I feel like lilac also is having quite a moment right now. This is the shade Grape Soda, and there actually is a blush called Grape Soda as well. There's some of the shades in here that have corresponding blush shades. Here is what it looks like swatched in the back of my hand. This shade is simply described as a cool lilac. If you wanted to build it up a little bit, you could. Although I do think that you have to be careful with these not to apply them too thickly or in too many layers. But if you don't, you're good to go with these. Here is Grape Soda. Okay, I'm not sure if this shade also is widely available because I'm not seeing it on the Sephora site. But this is called Hot Girl Peach. This looks like it's a fun shade. I do hope that they make this one widely available. Here is what it looks like swatched in the back of my hand. Let's try it on. Oh, that's pretty. Kind of like a corally peach shade. Here is Hot Girl Peach. Okay, I just realized that some of these shades seem like they're available on the Danessa Myricks site, but not necessarily on Sephora. So if you don't see a shade that you like on Sephora, check the Danessa Myricks site. This is the shade called Strawberry Whip, and this is described simply as a soft berry pink. Here is what it looks like swatched. We definitely have a lot of pinky shades, like they're definitely different in nuances between them. But I hope that they decide to do some alternative shades too. I would love that. I gotta say, like, these feel really, really nice, especially for going into the colder months. These definitely feel like they're gonna be a very hydrating, substantial formula. And here's what the shade Strawberry Whip looks like applied. Okay, here is a shade that I was actually really excited about. Who knew that I would be into orange lip shades this year? Lisa Eldridge unlocked that with the Marilyn Monroe collection. This is Golden Hour, and it's described as a vibrant orangey red. But again, because it's, buildable, there's something that is a little bit more approachable to some of these real vibrant colors. And like I said, if you want to build this up, you can. I just wouldn't put them on too thick. Here is Golden Hour. Okay, and next we have the shade Red Velvet. This is another shade that I was pretty excited for because it is a little bit bolder, more vibrant. Here's what it looks like swatched in the back of my hand. This is basically like a bright red. Love that one. Again, because it's not fully opaque, it's a little more approachable. Because I'm someone who does get intimidated of bright red lips. And I believe that they do have a red blush called Red Velvet as well. Here is what Red Velvet looks like. Okay, we'll finish up with some of the deeper brown toned nudes, starting off with Honey. This is Honey Cocoa, and this is described as a cool medium brown. Now we're getting into the shades that really speak to me in terms of nudes that I love. I love a brown toned nude. Oh yeah, pigment. Oh yeah, this is an ideal nude for me. Here is what Honey Cocoa looks like fully applied. Okay, next shade we have is Espresso Noir. This is a cool deep brown, so I think that in comparison to the shade that I just tried on, Honey Cocoa, this one I think is going to be a little bit deeper. Yeah, here's what it looks like swatched. And again, this one is Espresso Noir. Here is what Espresso Noir looks like. And last but not least, we have the deepest shade, and this is Blackcurrant. This is basically like a deep brown with a hint of berry to it. This one I was also super excited about. I love a rich brown lip. So pigmented. All right, and here is Blackcurrant. All right, now that I've had a chance to go through everything, including an overview, some detailed swatches on the hand and the lips, let's go ahead and close up with some wrap-up thoughts. So I'm really excited that I was able to try on all of these shades. I hope that seeing swatches and just having a chance to talk about the formula was helpful. I have to say, I enjoyed this formula way more than I expected. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because I have a lot of favorites from Danessa Myricks, but in terms of the overall market being saturated by products like this, it's hard to stand out. It really is. And so in terms of, the formula feeling like a substantial gloss that will last on the lips and will actually, provide your lips with long-lasting hydration, these are a unique formula. I also like the fact that compared to a few other products that are on the market, these are quite pigmented. A few things that are kind of, I guess, downsides and things to consider. They are pricey, you know, $26 for a gloss, definitely expensive. So definitely a downside. There's a lot of great shades. I do think that there's going to be a shade for everyone. I would truly love to see them expand this range to do some fun shades, like a sheer black would be so great in this formula. A green, just more alt shades in general. There are plenty of alt shades in the Danessa Myricks lineup, although I feel like we get those mostly in like the Lightworks palettes, the Color Fix, but I would love to see them in this formula, because this is a fantastic gloss formula. Like I said, I didn't expect to be blown away or feel like there was something that was going to be really, really unique about these, but I am genuinely super impressed. As I said, I will definitely leave a pinned comment to let you know how these wore throughout the day, just to give you an idea. These aren't going to be transfer proof, but I do feel like there is going to be some good last in these. And another thing I like is that you can kind of see right away what shade you're going to be getting because of the outer packaging. All right, now that I've had a chance to go through everything, I would love to hear what you think about this launch and which of these shades that I tried on was your favorite. As always, I hope you found my video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.